If you want to enter the world of cinema lenses, don't want to spend a lot of money, this entire kit is around $3,600 US. They're unique, they stand out, they have character, but yet modern. This could be the go-to for a lot of filmmakers out there. It's my favorite lens that Thypoch makes. Let's talk about this. All right, guys, full disclosure on this one, Thypoch did send me out the lenses for review. They're not paying me for this video. They're not seeing it in advance. My thoughts only. And I will talk about some of the pros and some of the cons that I experienced with these lenses. I have reviewed all of the photography lenses, and I'll put links in my description below. I don't want to go through every lens here, but I'll focus on the 75 and the 21 for this video when it comes to the Simera-C lineup, because these are the two focal lengths that really spoke to me in terms of the way they render, just the image quality. They're unique, they stand out, they have character, but yet modern. And it's the same for the photography lenses as well. I really enjoyed them. But the Simera-C, when you're using it on video, especially with Christmas lights and during the holiday season at nighttime, it's beautiful. These lenses really impressed me for video. I know for photography they're good, but these are also really good when it comes to that. And I was using it on the Nikon ZR, and I tried it also on the S9, but primarily on the ZR. So let's talk about some of the differences here. Obviously, design from the photography lens outside is going to be very different than the cinema lens. Case in point, this has gear rings for the aperture ring and the focus ring. This does not. It's scalped ring. It has the Alpha Current sort of depth of field scale there from years past, kind of an homage to them. That's where this comes into play. Optically, these two lenses are exactly the same. There is no difference in terms of the way the image renders. So that is something that you should know right off the bat. This is a T1.5. This is an F1.4. That's just the differences in measurement for light transmission for a cinema lens versus a photographer's lens. The Simera-C lineup are relatively the same size, except for the front part of the lens, which might be a little bit taller here on the 75, but the rear to the middle is exactly the same with the gear ring, so it's very easy to swap out, as all cinema lenses are. These are very well made. They're not that heavy. They're all metal construction. They do feel a bit more robust than the photography lens, but rightfully so. This is M-mount. This is M-mount as well. Make an E-mount version of this, but I would say if you want to adapt it to a number of cameras, get the M-mount version. But it's really well made. A nice tension here on the focus ring. It's not too loose. The aperture also as well feels really good. So let's talk about what it's like to use. You know, these are very small compact lenses. And especially on a Nikon ZR, which obviously is the hot camera at the moment, and I even tried it on a Lumix S9 as well. I was really impressed with how light that this kit is to run and gun as a solo content creator. Now, I don't have it rigged up with a matte box, or I don't have a focus puller or any sort of LiDAR focusing system, which would be great to have with this. But just walking around, it was very easy to rack focus, nail focus on that. It was fantastic. I would say my friend of mine, Peter Choi, he was testing out the Leica Hector lenses. I was trying these out, but we both felt these were really nice to use. And especially on the ZR, which is already small and compact, it makes it a really great run and gun kit, but it's the image quality that stands out. And the 75, to me, it's my favorite lens that Thypoch makes in terms of the way that it renders the background, the subject, the fall off, the character, how well corrected it is, yet at the same time, it has a somewhat of a vintage look. They've done a great job with this lens. The 21 also has that as well, but it's very wide. And I'm not a big wide angle shooter, but the 21 has such character to it. Like if you want to do, let's say, an X-pan crop or 2:3:5 or whatever aspect ratio, you really want something cinematic, that kind of wide shot with the black bars in the top and bottom. This 21 is friggin' beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Your subject pops off the frame. It renders the background beautifully. There's going to be a little bit of vignetting, of course, coming into this, but it's still gorgeous. And they mastered these lenses. To me personally, they're some of my favorite lenses out there. But I will say this, you really can't fault the image quality out of this. And again, people will have their preference in terms of what they like when it comes to the way a lens's characteristics are. Some people like super modern, some people like super vintage. But I think Thypoch has sort of married the two very, very well. And as you're seeing from all these sample clips here, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But I will say using it on the Nikon ZR is a bit of a challenge, not because of the lens, but because of the camera system. The focus peaking on the ZR isn't great. Without view assist, it's so-so. It's there, but it's very minimal. With view assist, which is like having a LUT on top of your log file, so you can actually see the color and exposure a little bit better, it doesn't work. So when you want to use these lenses on a ZR at, the fastest aperture or the widest aperture to 1.5, it's challenging. So I see a lot of people, oh, the ZR this, oh, the ZR that. I'm like, yeah, it's a great camera, but if you want to use cinema lenses, it's kind of hard to use at this point in time. Hopefully there'll be a firmware update and they'll fix that, but I'm just pointing that out there. So some of these shots might not be 100% in focus, and that's probably the reason of it, because it was really hard. Also, too, is that when you are to use image stabilization in the ZR, you have to use the CPU data section of the camera and assign the focal range you're going to be using for your non-electronic contact lens. These don't have electronic contacts to it, so that will give you stabilization. But I think if Nikon fixes the ZR with a firmware update that gives us better focus peaking and everything else, I think these are going to be a hell of a 1-2 combination to have, especially if you're a solo content creator. Yeah, these are going to be really, really good. But overall, I have been very impressed. I mean, look, you got 16-round aperture blades in these lenses. Beautiful, soft, creamy bokeh with character. And these adapters that you can buy for this, by the way, I got two adapters. I got the L mount and I got the Z mount adapter. It's a double locking adapter for your cinema lenses, which is great to have just for extra security. Really well made, metal, everything's great on that. But there is one thing about this lens which did bug me. And it limited me how I could use these lenses because I didn't have the ND system for it. It's the filter diameter. When you look at this 21, the same with the 35, the 50, and the 28, you take off the lens cap, it says 67. But it's not 67, it's 62, which means most filter systems that you buy go from 67 to 82. You have to buy another ring to use on these lenses. So it would be great if the filter sizes were uniformed across the line. Is this a deal breaker? No, it's frustrating. And I would hope, obviously Thypoch's not going to remake these lenses, but it'd be nice if they would have kept it to 67 all the way through, maybe the 75, they bring it to 72 as it says on the cap, and leave it there. That way we can use our ND systems without having to buy another adapter ring or maybe even another ND system, depending on what you have. That makes a little bit of a con for me. And the one thing I would say that doesn't feel good is the plastic lens cap here, which I'm a bit like, Thypoch, you made such a beautiful lens. What's this? Where you get the photography lens, you get a metal cap. A little bit of a con, but just a personal preference on that one. Outside of that, though, these are not rangefinder coupled. So if you thought about getting this lens and putting it onto your Leica M camera, but then also using it for video, you can put it onto your Leica M, but you're going to have to use Live View or use a VisoFlex. Whereas the photographer's lenses for M mount are rangefinder coupled. So keep that in mind. So that's probably the only con I have with these lenses. Outside of that, though, I've really enjoyed them. I know there's a lot of less expensive cinema lenses coming to market now. The market is changing drastically. They're going less expensive. They're going smaller. They want to go more compact. They want to keep their kit light and nimble. And that's where these Simera-Cs come into play. And they're going to give you fantastic optics, especially for the price point. This entire kit, without any sort of specials or rebates, is around $3,600 for 5 lenses. Plus you got shims in there, got your screwdriver system, you got all that there included. That's impressive. That's a hell of a deal. And if they continue to expand the lineup and give us more, this could be the go-to for a lot of filmmakers out there going forward. Especially if they want to keep their price low, but the quality high. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts here on the Thypoch Simera-C 7521. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be doing more videos on these on different camera systems. This is primarily on the ZR, but I'd love to hear your feedback. Do you have these lenses? Have you thought about getting them? Any questions? I'll try to answer them for you like always. Like, subscribe if you like this video. Appreciate the support. I'll chat to you all very, very soon. Bye.